So welcome to my class. In continuation with Unit 2, we were doing collection, organization and presentation of statistical data. So in this, we are going to talk about, we in the other class, we talked about collection of data. How do we collect data? And what are the methods of collecting data? In that, we talked about two types of data, two categories. One is the primary data and the secondary data. And then we went on to do what are the methods of collecting primary data. In that, we talked about direct personal investigation, indirect oral investigation, and we also talked about information through questionnaires. And the questionnaires can either be mailed, or that is sent by mail, or some surveys, or by email, YouTube surveys, WhatsApp surveys also are there. And of course, we talked about enumerators, through the enumerators, where the people go from place to place and find out about, or take the questionnaire, which are known as a schedule, and ask questions and write the responses. So let me just tell you. So in this class we are going to talk about, after all, what are the qualities of a good questionnaire, or how do you prepare a questionnaire. So all of that we will do, and we start with a covering letter. Okay, there are two important things. One is a covering letter, and another thing which is very important is that you must write the request for return, because after completing the questionnaire, they should take the make sure that they return the questionnaire, and the respondent must be assured that the information covered by him will be treated as confidential. So let's just begin. Covering letter. Okay, so when you prepare a questionnaire, so these are some of the points that you must have in your mind when you're doing it, because a list of questions. What is a questionnaire? First of all, you can be asked a question on that. It is a list of questions prepared by the investigator on the subject of the inquiry that he's doing for his research work. So it's a technical job basically, and requires a great deal of skill, expertise and practice. And while preparing the questionnaire, the following points must be noted. First is the covering letter. The person conducting the survey must introduce himself and make aims and objectives of the survey clear to the informants. The informant should be assured that the information supplied will be kept secret. That is the job of the covering letter. Very important. Second is that the question should be simple and clearly worded. The question should be short, simple and clearly worded. Now, lengthy questions should be avoided unless the person is technically trained. Difficult and technical terms should not be used. Or even if you want to do all of this, then make sure that you send it through your enumerator, who while reading the questions will make it understandable in the local language of the people. Then another important thing is that the number of questions should be as small as or as less as possible. And of course, there is no hard and fast rule about the number of questions in a questionnaire. Sometimes it's just 10, 15 or maybe at the most 25 questions that are sufficient for making any required inquiry. Another important thing is that one should not just ask any personal questions. You should avoid these questions. So only questions that are related to the investigation. So one comes to know that certain questions or respondents will be unwilling to answer. For example, now we ask them what are the sources of income or the volume of the sales of a businessman. Maybe the person will not be very happy about answering these. Then another important thing is that when you're putting questions, they should be logically arranged. So they are divided and subdivided into subgroups for the convenience of the respondents. And when I talk about this, it should be that they should be like, for example, like multiple choice questions, because when there are various possibilities of a particular event, multiple choice questions can be asked, and which means that the respondent has to just tick mark one that he feels fit. And sometimes, of course, you can even give open questions to that. And of course, there are yes and no questions should be given, because yes and no questions, the informants don't really find it very difficult in answering such questions. And questions requiring some calculations, etc., should not be asked. And smartly, you can put questions for a cross check. For example, in such a way, questionnaire should be made that they can help you understand the accuracy of the information. For example, the question about age can be supplemented with another question somewhere in the questionnaire about the date of birth. And of course, the questionnaire should look attractive. The printing and the paper should be of good quality, and space should be provided for the answers. Otherwise, people don't even like to look at them. And most important is that one should make sure that the instructions that you give should be very clear, especially when you are writing your covering letter. In that, the instructions should be clear, or even in the questionnaire you can make those give instructions. And one should be what is known as a pilot survey. After you've drafted your questionnaire, there should be a pilot survey. Now, what is a pilot? P-I-L-O-T. Pilot survey. It means that some questions are asked from the respondents on trial basis, or you can float the questions amongst your own people and find out. Now, if in their answering involves some difficulty, so this can be rectified, they can be reframed accordingly. So pilot survey can be made when you do these. So it is always advisable to conduct a survey on a small group for pre-testing of the questionnaire. So pre-testing of the questionnaire, in short, is known as a pilot survey. It helps the investigator to come to know about the drawbacks of the questions included in the questionnaire. It helps in assessing the performance of the enumerators, and also you can come to know about the cost and time involved in the actual survey. And then, of course, you can it helps in formulating effective methods of asking questions, and also improvement of the questionnaire. So, as we said, it's very important to say that questionnaires should be returned. Okay.